Well, good morning and welcome to the Biggie Outdoor Radio Show, where we discuss everything outdoors from hunting to fishing. We're brought to you by Biggie Outfitters and the Biggie Outdoor Museum at the Cedar Creek Mall. Make sure you swing by and check out Biggie Outdoor Big Game Hunting Museum and all the great displays as soon as it opens here later this summer. We're also brought to you by Thunder Lube, Bruise Brothers, Skis Meat Market of Wausau, BRB Auto Body, Adrenaline Hydrographics, Snap Fitness, These Hands Massage Therapy, Jim Kreshak Jewelers, and Auto Trim and Design. We're here in the studio this morning with Brandon and myself, Big E. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning. Good to be here again.
Brandon, you were telling me this morning that running season is starting for bears.
That's right. Yeah, July 1st, and I'll tell you what, a lot of guys are getting really hyped up about it. I mean, there's a couple of guys at work where I work over in Marathon, and they're saying Wednesday morning they get off work and they're hitting the woods. They're taking their dogs out, and it's a good day. They're excited. They've been getting their dogs ready for this for a whole year now, and now they can start running them bears.
You actually ran with some of those bear hunters last year.
Yeah.
You got to experience that, and again, we talk about hunters hunting and standing together with each other. We know that it is a little bit controversial when some of these guys are running the dogs.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are against hunting with the dogs, but we know that we promote standing together and everybody supporting each other, whether you choose to hunt that way or not, because if you speak out against a certain activity, then we might lose all of our hunting rights.
Yeah.
So we need all of our voting members. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you guys did did you run dogs? Did you run in the training season with them at all?
I got out there a few days. I didn't really get out there a whole lot in the training season, but once they started actually running the bears, I seemed to have more time then. But I think I'm going to try and make time here again this year and run with some of my buddies there. But I'll tell you, the hard part about it is, and what a lot of people don't understand, one of the reasons that there's many reasons why they speak out against it, but one of the reasons that they do is because, they don't understand why run the dogs in the heat. July 1st is when it opens, so you're running them in July and August. But they run these animals in the morning. By noon, you're not dropping on anything anymore. You're putting the dogs away and getting them home. So that's why, right after work, these guys are going to head out and get it done in the morning. They don't run them all day. They don't drive these dogs into the ground, and it's.
Well, the dogs actually enjoy it though, so it's not like they're making these dogs do something that they don't want to do either.
Exactly. Yep. And these guys aren't going to work these dogs into the ground. These dogs are an extension of their family. People don't understand how many thousands of dollars that these hunters spend for these dogs. To buy the dog itself. To keep the dog up, the stuff that they feed them in the winter, to keep them through. They feed these dogs all year long to be able to run them, on coons and bears. So, they're obviously.
How do they do this now? They actually go out and they start them at baits, or do they find a track crossing the road, or
sometimes they'll have dogs that'll locate, or that'll track or not pick up a track while you're driving down the road. They'll start howling in the box. But most of the time, they get to a bait site. They have a stump that had some stuff in there to lure in the bears, and if they've got sand around the stump, most of these guys do, and if there's fresh tracks in the sand, they can tell roughly how big the bear is. So many inches by the paw, equals out so many pounds usually on a bear, and they can determine then if it's worth dumping the dogs or not. Sometimes they have trail cameras at the bait, so that can determine, a better idea on the size, and it can also determine how soon the bear was there. If the bear was there at 11 o'clock at night, it doesn't pay to dump on them at 6:30 in the morning.
Sure.
So, that's all that stuff comes into play. So, you got to get there, you got to check the bait site first, and then if the bait site is fresh enough and there's good enough bear at it, you release your dogs. And, you always have that one dog in a group usually that's the best, I guess, track dog or the lead dog, and the rest of them kind of follow and pick up the scent and stay on it with them. But
so this actually does follow suit then. If you're not the lead dog, the view never changes?
That's right, yeah. If you're not the lead dog, the scenery never changes.
Really?
Yeah.
So then they have some dogs that start out the track, and then the rest of them are just the chase dogs.
Yeah, and it's different, I guess, for every group or for every hunter and his dogs. But I know the guys that I ran with in the past, they had out of one or two, sometimes three dogs. They had a few of them that were better starter dogs than others. Or if you had a colder track, you had some dogs that were better at picking up on a cold track. You usually, if you got young ones that you're still trying to train and work with, you're going to figure out what you have starting out in July here. That's why they have this training season.
Sure.
But a younger dog is obviously going to run better on a hot track. So that's the whole thing they want to try and get warmed up on. They want to get.
Is this mostly a guy's sport? Mostly men?
No, absolutely not.
Really?
Absolutely not. No, there's plenty of women and kids get involved with it. In fact, the group that I was with, most of husbands, wives, and all that, they all run together. Because you ride around in the truck and track these dogs with collars and GPSs and all that.
So it's pretty high tech, actually. It's not just.
It is, yeah. It's pretty unique. I mean, there's also a lot of people that are, that use the old school collars and the radio. It looks like you're waving around a mini TV antenna outside the window of your truck. I mean, it's something that you can take the whole family along on. I mean, there's wives and kids and it doesn't matter. I mean, you're riding around in the truck most of the time. Yeah, you got to trek back into the woods, quite often to get the dogs, but you don't have to take the wife and kids in there with you. I mean, they can wait out in the truck. They don't have to go in the swamps and be in mud up to their waist or get eaten alive by mosquitoes.
So. I'm sure the misconception is that all bear hunters are just a bunch of drunken fools out there tearing things up. But it doesn't sound like that's true. It sounds like these guys put some thought into it, some work into it.
Yep. Now, that don't mean that they don't like to have a beer occasionally, but they usually wait till after the hunt.
Well, that's the thing is that all of these hunters do. There's the deer hunters and stuff as well. And by learning to work together, all these hunters, instead of fighting, these hunters will actually make their sports stronger.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting with each other and tearing things up. The biggest key there is respect. I know that we had some bear hunters that came and they had a bear treed and they asked permission to cross the land, and that's a big thing instead of just running across somebody's land. So
yeah.
I think that when they have the respect to come and ask that permission, that rather than the landowners just automatically saying no and trying to be hard-nosed about it, that they probably should, consider the fact that if somebody's being respectful,
help your fellow hunter.
Help your fellow hunter. That's right. That's right. And understand that they value their sport just as much as you might value yours, which could be deer hunting, it could be turkey hunting. And if you're not out there bear hunting, they're not. What are they doing? They're not intruding on you. And you got to think about the fact that if you are a deer hunter, every time they take a bear out,
they're doing you a favor.
They're actually doing you a favor. That's right.
Yeah, people don't understand how many fawns a bear can eat in the spring, especially. They wake up and they're hungry. I mean,
what's your preferred method of shooting these bears when you get them up a tree?
There's a lot of people that'll they'll use muzzleloaders. Some people use rifles. A lot of people actually use the rifles. I would like to, if I get one up a tree, I'd like to try it with a bow, but I can also see where usually when you get them up a tree, if there's a lot of branches and a lot of stuff to shoot through, I can see where it'd be harder to do it with a bow. It'd be nice to do, but you have to have a perfect wide open shot.
Yeah, you would think that if you had them up the tree that it would be a piece of cake to do it with a bow, but I guess, when you take into consideration the amount of branches and all of the obstacles that you might have to overcome, that could be a little bit more difficult than one would think.
Yeah. Yep. That's just another one of the challenges, I guess, that these hunters overcome. I mean, there's plenty going on as it is, dumping the dogs and following the dogs, and then once you determine that the dogs have a bear treed or a bear bayed up, a bigger bear,
what do you do?
What
do you do if you get to the tree and it's just a coon?
Well, it depends if it's coon season or not. But no, then you pull the dogs off, leash them up, and walk them back out of the woods.
And how often have you I guess you've witnessed coming across bear dogs that have been attacked by wolves?
It's not a pretty sight,
Mm-hmm.
and it does not take long for even a couple of wolves to completely shred
A dog.
more than one dog. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. You get in there, and I mean, as graphic as it is to say, I mean, people's eyes need to be opened up about it. You get in there, you hear the wolves open up, and 30 minutes later, when you finally get back in there to get to your dogs, nothing left but the head and the feet. Everything else is gone.
Wow.
I mean, it is not a pretty sight. The wolves are definitely hard on it, and they're smart about it, because these guys are up there hunting bears, and these dogs take off on a bear track, and they're barking and doing what they do. Then these wolves just lay back and pretty much track the dogs. The dogs are running the bear, and the wolves are running the dogs, and they don't open up until they're already on the dogs. By the time you hear the wolves open up and start howling, if you're not right there, there's nothing you can do. You're probably going to lose your dogs.
How about running deer? I know that's probably one of the biggest concerns. Everybody's worried about them running deer. Do you have a lot of problem with that?
I saw it a couple of times, but a lot of times you can get the dog off of it, and you can tell if they're running a deer. I mean, if you got one younger dog that is a little bit ADD, or whatever it might be. You got 5 dogs going one way, and the 6th dog is going the other way, and they're doing a lot of darting back and forth and running pretty hard. You can usually tell if they're you start to learn their patterns. You can tell if they're on a deer or not. And,
But for the most part, they're pretty good, and they're trained not to.
oh yeah, I mean, there's people that that I work with, even that I was talking to. They're saying that their dogs know the difference, whether or not they're dumping on a bobcat, a raccoon, a bear, a coyote. I mean, they know what they're running.
Huh. Well, that's all pretty good. I guess we're out of time. We're going to take a break quick, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Welcome back. Biggie Outdoor Radio with Brandon and Big E here in the studio. Oh, you're that so slow. Gentle. You know, we've been talking about a lot of things from bears, hunting bear, crossbows. We talk about all kinds of stuff here. And again, we encourage our listeners, go on Facebook, Big E Radio, Big E Outdoor Radio. Send us some Facebook messages. Tell us what you'd like to hear, some topics that might be interesting to you. Eventually, we'll open up these phone lines with our toll-free number when we're ready to take some criticism here. Yeah. Right now, you know, silencers are becoming legal, or suppressors, they want to call them. They don't want us to call them silencers, but suppressors. You know, I can remember when it used to be, it was a federal offense to even own a suppressor. You couldn't even talk about owning one of these things. And now, you can buy these. I mean, you have to go through some special background checks, and it's like buying a weapon a little bit harder. You have to get a special federal FFL license to be able to buy one.
Well, why buy them when you could build your own?
No. You still have to have that special FFL. If you get caught with one of these suppressors and you don't have that special level FFL, you're in a world of trouble, and you don't want to be messing around with that. Our pro staffer Ernie can tell you exactly what you need for paperwork for that.
Oh, I'm sure he can. Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of things that require paperwork nowadays. You know, buying a gun and buying these suppressors and everything like that. Before we get into that, I think that they should make you fill that kind of paperwork out just when you're picking out your girlfriend or your wife nowadays.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead and talk about this all you want. I'm gonna ease on out.
Just think about how much trouble that would save you in life if you went in and you had to fill out the exact same paperwork you do for buying a gun. Just think of the questions. Are you picking this woman out for you? Yes or no? Is this for you or for a friend? You know.
Yeah.
And then all the rest of the questions, because a woman wants to know it anyway. She's going to CCAP you.
Are you a felon? Well, you better not lie, buddy, because she's going to look.
She's going to check you out. And then you can answer all the rest of the questions. Are you a citizen? Are you pretty much the same thing. And then send it in. And then this is the kicker right here: a 3-day waiting period. And for some guys, they could call it in, and then you'd know whether you're going to be delayed or approved, depending on your dating habits. They could, say, okay, yeah, you can date this woman, or you're going to have to check back with us in a few days. It's like on a handgun, they got that 48-hour law.
Yeah.
They say, well, this one's kind of deadly, so you have to wait 48 hours. And just think how many guys after they got home would say, that was a really bad idea. I got my 48-hour waiting period. I'm not going to go back and pick that gal up.
Man, oh man. You're going to be getting some hate mail for that. I know it.
Well,
I know it.
Think of the problems it would save.
Yeah.
It'd save a lot of knee-jerk reactions.
Well, I guess where you're going to be getting a lot of the feedback and blowback. I mean, why is it the guy that's filling this out? Maybe the gal don't want to go back for the guy.
The woman should maybe fill it out too.
I mean,
they both should.
Man, oh man.
I wonder if my wife would still marry me if she had a 3-day waiting period.
3-day waiting period? Yeah, I don't know. He'd be like, God.
We should ask her.
At first sight, he was kind of handsome, but he had the wildest look in his eye. I don't think that. I
think that's why she liked me, because I had that wild look in my eye.
Yeah.
We'll have to have her. Sherry, we're going to be looking for your comment on Facebook. Would you still take me after a 3-day waiting period? Whew. I don't know if I can go home after this show.
Well, you can come over by me.
Yeah, we'll have to go down to. We can watch the race, and then we'll go to Bruise Brothers.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yep. I seem to step in it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to the silencer thing. There's a lot of reasons that silencers and suppressors. It's right there on your sheet. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Are good for the hunting. There's a lot of people that a lot of hunters have kind of opposed this because they said, this makes it easier for poachers and things like that. Well, let me tell you something. If you're making laws based on worrying about poachers and worrying about people breaking the law, You're never going to pass any laws.
I'll tell you what. The guys who are going to break the law and do the poaching and all that, they're going to do it anyways.
Yeah,
it's like
they already had these suppressors. They're hand making them.
It's just like these gun control, things, people are trying to put into effect, oh man.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's the people who intend to do wrong are still going to do wrong.
That's right. That's right. But you got to think about the good. I read, and here's where you can go to Wisconsin Outdoor News. Is a great site. It's on the internet, Wisconsin Outdoor News. Go on there and you read up on all the topics and go to the blogs. And go down and you'll find one on this exact topic. And this fella had some really good things. Things that I wouldn't have even thought about. Okay, start thinking about the pros and the cons of hunting with suppressed weapons. What can you think? What would be a good reason to hunt? Why it would be a good idea to hunt with a suppressed weapon?
Well, one thing would be if you're hunting in a group of, or on a field and you got a group of deer out in front of you and you're shooting this nice buck. You're not going to completely scare everything off of the field.
That's right.
You can shoot something and they'll notice something is up, obviously. But it's not going to be a loud shock and make everything go bursting off. They'll probably run a little bit, but it's not going to be as bad.
Yep.
You can save your hunting spots a lot better.
Well, okay, let's just talk about just that topic right there, what you just said.
Yeah.
Okay. That's less stress on the animal, number one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And let's say you're hunting near a highway.
Yeah.
Okay. Now those animals aren't going to go running across the highway.
Yeah.
And what if you're a kid hunting and you miss? You might get that second shot.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. So what could be, another one? Let's say, right now you talk about all the people that are out there that are complaining about hearing all the gunshots during deer season.
Yeah. Now you don't have to hear them.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a silent but deadly thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, silent but deadly. That has a lot of meanings.
That's right. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Here's another one, and this is one of the things I saw on the blog, and I would have not thought about it. But what's one of my biggest issues that I deal with? Don't name some of them. Think of the ones that are related to shooting, my hearing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The people there's a lot of folks that hunt, and they have hearing loss that's related to their shooting and their constant loud noises and things like that. Now think about if you start getting into shooting with suppressed firearms more and more, you're going to have less hearing loss. And especially if you're dealing with older guys that are out there shooting with suppressed weapons, and you're not having all that really loud noise in their ears. And it's great for your younger hunters as well. They're not going to have that hearing damage at young ages, things like that. I know they say wear hearing protection, but the thing is when you're in the heat of the moment in the hunt, you don't take the time to put your hearing protection in unless you're Ernie Williams.
You might miss a lot of opportunities that way.
That's right. I'm telling you, that guy will stop.
And and
he puts his hearing protection in to go to the restroom.
Oh man. Well, and the thing is you're not going to sit in the stand with your earplugs in the whole hunt because you got to be able to hear what's going on around you.
That's right.
So, I've never been one to wear earplugs.
No.
It's just not me. I know some people prefer it. But I'm not going to monkey with it. I got plenty of other stuff going on.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And again, like I said, you don't want to make these laws or all your laws. You don't want to be passing laws or making restrictions because you're so worried about somebody is going to break the law. How is the lawbreaker going to use this or whatever? No, you want to think about all the good that these things can do. These laws. Where I got introduced to hunting with a suppressor was Africa.
Oh, yeah.
This last time I was over in Africa, they were hunting with huge suppressors.
Sure.
And
well, you got a lot of game and in a pretty small area sometimes. It depends on the seasons over there.
I couldn't believe it. The PH that we were hunting with, he called his suppressor the Black Mamba because he had this big, this thing was probably 24 inches long, the suppressor.
Yeah.
On the end of his gun. And he was shooting a 300. And when he would shoot it, it was maybe a little bit louder than a .22.
Oh, wow. Man. So when you missed, it helped you to have another opportunity.
I didn't shoot it, and I don't miss.
Oh, yeah. Well.
But Ernie was shooting it, and yes, it did help him to get second shots. And the other thing is when you'd shoot it, all the game animals on the whole mountainside didn't just take off scattering. I mean, you had it just was less invasive on the environment. Yeah. It was pretty cool, actually.
Absolutely. Not to call Ernie out or anything, but it did help him get second shots. Huh?
And third shots and fourth shots. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But eventually he ended up having, because he ran out of bullets with that, he had to use my rifle, which did not have a suppressor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that on film too. But no, it was pretty cool, and I got to hunt with the suppressors over there. And then actually we had some friends of ours that booked a hunt and went over there on a honeymoon. It was Andy and Tracy Prestine from over by Appleton, and they were over there, and their PH also had suppressor on his rifle, and they hunted a lot with his rifle, and they used it, and they shot everything from springbuck to zebra with that. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't really affect the distance or the accuracy. It didn't affect any of that. So we have another fellow that's going to be taking a really, really long-range weapon that has a suppressor on it that's going to be going hunting with us. Ed Haywood with Central Wisconsin Firearms.
Yeah.
He's going to be taking us and going on a hunt with us, and he's going to be reaching out there about 1,000 to 1,500 yards with his big rifle that he has. So
yeah, it's going to be impressive. I know he was talking about how far that thing can launch.
Yep, so I can't wait to see that. And we'll pick this up when we get back after these messages. Hey, welcome back. Top of the hour. We're welcoming our affiliate networks that are just tuning in from other areas. Welcome to Biggie Outdoor Radio Show, and we're talking about some interesting, I can't even talk today, Brennan. Yeah. Interesting outdoor topics here this morning.
Oh, yeah, we're picking right along on them. What have we covered now so far? I mean, CWD, crossbows, primitive hunting.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of that. This segment here in Wausau is brought to you by Bruise Brothers on Highway X in Weston, just off Highway 29. They got fresh burger ground daily from Country Fresh Meats. You got to get out there and check that out. Awesome hand-cut fries. And they got all kinds of those great seasonings to choose from. Plenty of on-tap brews, as you pointed out before, Brandon, with 35 different beers on tap.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And if you haven't made your way over to Bruise Brothers yet, everybody, you need to head on over and check them out. And I'll tell you what, just to make things even better, tell them that Big E sent you when you go on over there, and we're going to leave some stuff there, and they'll have a little something special to give you just for mentioning that Big E sent you and that you heard our radio show.
What, your receipt from your last visit?
They'd never know. But head on out there, and you'll be hooked on the best burgers in town. I'd recommend a Kentucky Bourbon Burger. I don't know. Do you have one that's your favorite out there?
Actually, I jump around a lot. I tend to try a lot of their different burgers.
Yeah, there you go.
I have had that Kentucky Bourbon burger though, and
I love that one. That's a great burger. So Brandon, I mean, right now this time of the year, there's not a lot to hunt.
Legally, no.
Well, you can go fishing.
Yeah, that's right.
You can hunt fish.
Yeah, speaking of which, Ben, when are we going fishing?
Soon as this show is over.
Yeah, all right, sounds good.
As soon as this show's over. But around the country, if you get into the way that come on down and see Biggie Outdoors, and stop looking at me like that. What's wrong with you? If you come on down and see Biggie Outdoors and get to know us, we will be glad to help you figure out things that you can do in the off season, or what you might think is the off season up here.
Yeah.
And we will show you some things that you can also do that are inexpensive. Always some inexpensive things to do with the family. For instance, hog hunting.
Wait a minute, inexpensive things to do?
Yeah. I just haven't told you yet.
Yeah, well, what the heck?
But hog hunting, for instance, is there's a lot of different places you can go. I mean, if you just want to go after some meat hogs and you want to do it and you don't mind doing it on a high fence operation, you can go right down here to Iowa.
Yeah.
Right down right by Prairie du Chien, Scenic View Ranch. They've got full-blood Russians, and he's got meat hogs and things like that. You can go down there and hunt them with a bow or with a gun all year round.
And the farther south you get, the cheaper the hunts get, because down south they're just a nuisance. In fact,
They're running
I know
everywhere.
people who pay people to go on their property just to call out the hogs.
They used to.
So
They
Well,
used to. You're not going to get that anymore because now they figured out that
it's a sport. People are going after
that's right.
it. Yeah.
And they charge you for everything. I mean, they'll take you up in helicopters. You can shoot them out of a helicopter and just mow them down that way. But they're going to charge you, and they charge you like $1,000 an hour to go up in the helicopter.
Well, somebody's got to put gas in that machine.
That's right. I said, Ben, you just checked it out. What was it?
$3,800 for 2 people for 2 hours with unlimited ammo.
Man, that really jumped in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Holy
that's
smokes.
really gone up. So,
So we won't be hunting out of a helicopter.
not anytime soon. We won't be. But you know, like down in Georgia, we were just down there, and the place down there is $350 a day. All the hogs you want to shoot. There's a place in South Carolina. It's $500 for a weekend. All the hogs you want to shoot. North Carolina is I think it's $350, $400 for an evening of hunting there. It just depends on where you want to go, and you know what kind of hogs you're looking for. But you know, like I said, you know, you can go all over the country. We got hog hunts in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and it's something that's fun to do with the father-son. And pay attention over here, boy.
I keep hearing something. I'm pretty sure.
It's probably outside. Don't worry about it. And so anyway, if you're looking for something, it's you know, they look at it as damage control in the South, but
Yeah.
because they figured out that we get a thrill out of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially from up north. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just another excuse to get out of the cold weather, or, you know, even if the weather ain't that cold, it's just another excuse to travel or get away from your job for a few days.
that'd be like if we had a bunch of mice running around, and then all of a sudden we realize that somebody got a kick out of hunting them. We start charging people to get the mice out of your house. It's kind of the way it is. They're charging now for us to come and get the pests out of their fields.
Yeah.
Where before they couldn't get enough people to get rid of them. And down there, you know, you talk about hog hunting, and a lot of people just roll their eyes because they could give 2 cents about going out.
Good save.
Give 2 cents about going out hog hunting.
Yeah.
We get to stay on the radio. I'm getting good at this.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I actually would have. I mean, could you imagine, you know, going into like somebody's house or barn or whatever with an airsoft gun hunting mice? How cool would that be?
Get that out of your head, okay? We're not going to actually go mouse hunting.
Well, now that you mention it, I mean, I'm too ADD to just brush by something without thinking about it for a little bit. In fact, I don't even know what you said the whole last 2 minutes.
Oh gosh. And if you go hog hunting, they can always bring their hog head in here, and we can dip it, do some hydrographics on there, like the ones we got over there. We got that one with the green camo, and
Yeah.
we can put
It's a
some,
good thing that you pointed at it. That way our listeners can see what you were talking about.
yeah, we'll have to put a cooking segment on there, and then they can smell and see what we're cooking too.
Oh,
Cooking segment on the radio.
I don't think they need a visual for that.
No.
You're cooking something.
So, what about this weekend? You going hog hunting with me?
Man, I'll tell you what, I'd have to confirm it with my supervisor for Monday.
Wait a minute.
I could get off
Who's
Monday.
your supervisor now? Is it the girl you're going to marry, or is it the guy you're working for?
What?
How does that work now? Who actually classifies as your supervisor?
Well, actually, Megan doesn't mind, you know, if I'm going to go and do a hunt somewhere.
That's
know,
because you
it's-
haven't married her yet. You just wait.
But no,
Just wait
I do
till
have.
the day that you look at her and say, "I do."
I could get off for Monday,
Then she will care.
but Friday's the big deal because a lot of people have been taking off their Fridays so they get a longer weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what does Monday construe? That'd be a longer weekend too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you want to leave on Friday.
That's right. And Monday.
You what? You want to leave on Friday and Monday?
Well, we're going to be gone Friday and Monday.
Well, you are. I'm not sure if I am yet.
Well, you know, I really need you down there. Got to film this for radio.
Have you looked into plane tickets?
We can check it out.
Well,
We're planning on doing some night hunting. Actually, the folks from Night Sight have a couple of night sight scope mounts on the way. We should probably tell the folks how those work.
They work.
They slide right over your scope, your existing scope. You don't have to change anything on your rifle. You slip them on, and then it actually clips on top of your scope, and then there's like a TV screen that you look at. And you can use it during the day, so you don't have to use it in the night vision mode. And you can also then turn it on and use it at night, and it'll be IR, infrared.
Is this what you were using when you were down there last time?
No, this is something totally new.
Oh.
And it's pretty affordable too. You know, what do you think infrared technology costs on a gun or night vision? What do you think it would cost you to put that on?
I would think $5 or $6 grand.
The night sight stuff starts at $1,100, and their
Holy
most
smokes.
expensive one I think is like $1,389.
That's pretty affordable.
Very affordable.
Very affordable when you consider what most people probably would imagine it would be.
Yep. And now you add yourself a suppressor to your gun, put the night vision on there, and go after some coyotes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just think of the damage we can do to the coyotes with that.
Yeah, if you could hit anything.
May I remind you who was missing the coyotes the last time we were out there?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Let's start thinking about that. I think what we should do for the listeners and the viewers is, because we're about even right now with everything, is let's start it.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Let's start a tally sheet right
Okay.
now. Let's keep track.
Well, you want to go through it now? Or what?
No, let's just start as of 2015.
As a 2015 clean
We'll start
slate?
Clean slate, January 2015.
All right.
And we'll start seeing who is killing more stuff and missing more stuff. And I just smacked the hog right in the melon at 180 yards, so I'm on to that.
That's what you say.
Yeah, and I shot another one with the bow and arrow right in the neck.
How many did you miss before that?
None. I haven't missed any.
You hit it in the neck. What were you aiming for?
I aimed for the neck. It was facing me. I had to shoot it in the neck.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm 2 for 2. One with a bow, one with a gun.
Did you find them both?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. I'm just asking. I mean, I don't. Hey.
If I lose them because it's my fault or because it was a bad hit, I'll be glad to admit it. Now, if something jumps in a river and washes down river, that is not going to count, whether it's against you or me, I will tell you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, or goes flying out in a highway and gets smoked by a semi or something like that. Not that that's ever happened to us, but
It has.
has it happened to us?
Yeah.
What?
You remember when I was younger, that buck that I missed? I shot like a clip and a half at it, and then
Oh yeah, then it jumped over into the highway and got hit by the semi.
yeah, Freightliner got him. Yep.
Yeah, but you missed them.
I did. I missed a bunch that year. Actually, I shot like 2 boxes of rounds and didn't hit a darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where you nicknamed me Rolling Thunder for about a year.
Yeah, because you couldn't hit the turkeys either.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I was running and gunning and rolling thunder all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you know what. If the thing is actually, if we wanted to go way back and get into this, what we could do is I could get your Uncle Brad to call in here.
All right, listen.
So let's just start at 2015 and move forward. How's that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds,
Okay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're not so high and mighty, are you?
I was a kid, man.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Jeez.
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, I've seen you miss too. I mean,
Yeah.
go back.
Well, let's wrap it up. We'll come back after these messages and we'll get right back on.
All right.